Friends, as you are aware, SEBI wide its circular dated 20th March 2025 has revised the format of shareholding pattern, which has become effective from quarter ending 30th June 2025. Accordingly, the next shareholding pattern pursuant to Regulation 31 of LODR to be filed on by 21st July 2025 will be as per the new format and shall also include detail of promoter and promoter group holding nil shares. And in the same line, the NSE has issued its circular, its updated FAQ on 9th July 2025 relating to the filing of the shareholding pattern. And NSE has given more than 52 questions and 52 FAQ and their answer. And I hope that after 52 FAQ, nothing is left out. But even then, the professional thinks differently, the regulator thinks differently. So this FAQ can solve problems of our industry, but we have to understand, because in the FAQ also there are some issues, some questions, some clarification required. So this program we are organizing because of this reason, that everybody has FAQs, everybody has read this, and everybody has read this law also. So these amendments and clarification have opened up discussion on how to prepare shareholding pattern and reclassify promoter and promoter group under Regulation 31A of Reg. The issue here is that time is short and it has come as a surprise to the industry, and industry has to prepare this particular thing. Now, I just remind me that everybody is saying this is the new circular SEBI has given. But friends, if you see the LODR Regulation 31, holding of specified security and shareholding pattern, this particular point is not new. This is in 2018, 16th November 2018, SEBI has given this, and they mention all entities falling under promoter group shall be disclosed separately in the shareholding pattern appearing on the website of the all stock exchange having nationwide terminal, where the specified security of the entities are listed in accordance with the format specified by the board. So when everybody is seeing that this is the new, I don't think, because this Regulation 31 of LODR talks about all entities. All entities in promoter group both, and whether they are holding shares or not, it should disclose. But it has not empathetically discussed and empathetically identified. SEBI have mentioned this, and accordingly, today's webinar on this point. Because in India, we are reactive, we are not active, we react on law. And we react on the law when it has come on our head. So now this July date is there. So everybody is ready. And here Anjali was also emphasizing we have to do program before 21st July because implementation date is there. So friends, today we will discuss key issues in this webinar relating to understanding the changes in shareholding pattern, FAQ issued by NSE or filing of shareholding pattern, issue and impact of change in the shareholding pattern format. And I will tell you, friends, and I am grateful to NSE also, that NSE is taking lead in this to disseminate information. And that's why this program, which we are doing today, though we are doing regular Friday program, but this program we are doing jointly with NSE, and NSE is interested that whatever law is there, whatever understanding of this, whatever the miscommunication, whatever your understanding and NSE understanding is different, they want to discuss. And that's why 4 strong persons team from NSE is there to discuss all points, all issues. So I welcome all the learned panelists for this webinar. First, I want to welcome Mansi Sawant. Is a seasoned professional regulatory compliance currently serving as Chief Manager in National Stock Exchange. And since 2010, she's prior experience in banking operation in RBS and worked as a personal finance consultant in Standard Chartered. I welcome Mansi for this program, and I'm aware that you have some personal difficulty. Even then, you have joined this program. So thanks from our side and thanks from the participant side.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Then we have Ashim Sehgal, is the senior manager of at NSE and over 12 years of experience across corporate law, compliance, strategic management, and ERP functions. He began his career at Bharti Airtel in finance and supply chain, later leading to ERP function and Godrej. I welcome Ashim for this program, and your experience of private sector and public sector or regulator will definitely helpful to all. And then
thanks, sir.
I welcome Mr. Mandar Desai. He's the manager at NSE. Over 8 years of experience, he has held roles such as deputy manager at NSE, assistant general manager at Hubtown Limited, and company secretary at Skill Infrastructure Limited and SVC Resource. I welcome you, Mr. Desai, and your knowledge and experience will definitely helpful.
Thank you, sir.
Then we have Mr. Vinod Nimbalkar, is Deputy Manager NSE. Before this, he worked as a IIFL, managed finance as a senior officer in the Secretarial Department. I welcome Vinod for this program. Then we have Anjali Agarwal.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So this is the regulatory side. Then we have Anjali Agarwal, Partner, Head Capital Market Service, Corporate Professional. Then Ankit Singhi, Head Corporate Affairs and Compliance, Corporate Professional. And then Charu Gakkar, Manager, Capital Market Services, Corporate Professional. Friends, I just want to correct this. This last program we have done with the NSC, jointly with NSC, but this program we have done, and NSC is helping us to disseminate information. Next program we are doing on next Friday, that we are doing on with the NSC relating to understanding nitty-gritty of scheme of arrangement. And this is on 25th July at 4 o'clock. And NSC wants to disseminate that what are the problems in when you are filing your scheme, what are the issues that the people are facing, and why the delay and how the delay can be reduced. Friends, as you are aware that this topic is very, very interesting and very complex, and the way people have registered today, more than 400 people have registered, and around 300 people are joining this webinar. You can understand the importance of this topic and importance of this timing. Now, the point simple is that what is the change this particular law will bring? Because what is happening normally in India, it is understandable that if you have a shares, then control is automatically coming. But if you don't have shares, that control can be there, but it is not visible unless it is specifically mentioned. So here, what SEBI or NSE in their format, they are suggesting that you disclose the shareholders in the promoter and promoter group. Even if these shareholders are not holding share, but they come under promoter category, you have to give their name. Now, here is the catch. The point is the why this regulatory intent is coming. Because SEBI recognizes that influential does not always come with the ownership. So that is one part, that even if you don't have shares, but you can control. Then promoter has stepped away from shareholding, but still retained board control, founders' right, brand association, related party control, and indirect control they can do. Now, SEBI, the way I'm perceiving and seeing the international law, the SEBI is moving towards control-based disclosure regime, not just by ownership-based, but by control-based also. And the people will say, what are the advantages? Advantages, if we see this, it has both pros and cons also. So I'm just saying the pros, what are the things? Because transparency will increase. You investor will understand who is controlling the company. When the names will come, then you can see this, that you connect with other things also. You eliminate the wheel over influential ex-promoter. Sometimes promoter is not there, but they control indirectly. Sometimes they put their people, but manage things outside. Then curbing evasion also, because misuse of reclassification norms. Earlier promoter would exit formally but continue running the business. Then the most important thing, which I think, that global alignment is going on, because worldwide there is no word of promoter group. They recognize on the basis of controlling regime, who is controlling, who is managing the control of the company. Governance will better and the investor confidence will up. But now, what are the challenges and disadvantages of this type of thing? Number one, the definition is ambiguity. How far should promoter group linkage to the extent ex-spouse, former business partner, because they were their earlier promoter or the promoter group, they can continue. And the ex-husband and ex-spouse is the biggest issue which is coming. Two brothers are there, they are fighting with each other, now they are separated, even then they are doing. And sometimes what is happening, the wife side family, they are not in connected to your business, but because of the relation, it is shown at, and then so many problems related to them is also part of this business. And that we will discuss during question answer session. Increased compliance load, that is another point, that everybody, especially the secretary team, is worried that they have to now identify who is promoter group, and they have to show each and everybody. And in this, something is missing out, is a problem. Then second is risk of reputational harm. Sometimes what is happening, the people not involved in so many years in the publicly named, unless properly reclassified, but they are now, they have not reclassified because they were thinking we don't have shares, so no disclosure. So that's why it can be silent. But now their name will come. And if the company's reputation is good or bad, that will affect them also. Simultaneously, the company's reputation will also affect if the promoter group is doing something wrong, which is not connected to you today. Then next is reclassification bottleneck. Regulation 31A requires detailed process, board approval, public intimation, shareholding board, shareholders approval, stock exchange clearance, and various things. And this is very complicated. I have seen the reclassification in our client cases. We have found it's really cumbersome. It's not easy. Then the complexity of legacy also, that is also there. Now, I was just studying the international scenario. In USA, no promoter term used in filing. They use beneficiary ownership and control. In UK, they use control or significant shareholders, not the promoter group. And then the things that who is controlling and influencing. And Singapore also, they are not using word promoter, but they are using interested person and controlling shareholders. So in my opinion, the SEBI may be interested, because that is happening, that now so many companies are coming out where there's no promoter, and the definition of promoter and the definition of non-promoter holding company, that is coming out. And so there is a conflict in India about the controlling and non-controlling, and the promoter and non-promoter. So I think this may be the step towards going there. So brand owner, founder, or shadow director are still not disclosed. That will also be part. So friends, in my opinion, the common theme of global is, it is not about the number of shares. It is about the power behind the scene, who is controlling. And now Indian companies also have to do this. So first they have to update group mapping, maintain proper documentation of all current former promoter linkage. They have to initiate reclassification or genuine exit under Regulation 31A. Both board resolution and disclosure note to justify why nil holding promoter should not be in the list. And train compliance team also to interpret influence control beyond legal board holding, and simultaneously they should also know who will come in the promoter and promoter group. So in the finally, the critical prospect, which I can just see, the reforms is conceptually sound, but operationally complex. An Indian scenario, it is more because we always talking about that in India में कोई जन्म लेता है तो मरने का system बहुत खराब है when we are saying the winding up of the companies. Now here also once is a promoter is always a promoter unless he is reclassified. That is very tough process. It has to be simplified. It offers great opportunity to India to move towards modern corporate ownership principle because that's the time you can do. And then the reclassification simplification is essential for doing this. And when we was, because Anjali and Charu will give a presentation in this, when we were seeing the promoter group, then there is a word called the immediate relative. Now in the immediate relative, if you see, we have a 4 or 5 laws in this. And in each law, we have a different definition. And that is a biggest problem. SEBI LODR is the main, SEBI ICDR is the second part, SEBI PIT, SEBI SAST, and the Companies Act 2013. So Companies Act 2013 covers all, but SAST, PIT, ICDR, and LODR, they are taking some relative in this, some not relative, some relative they are not taking. The chart, they will show it to you and it say how it is complicated and what is the purpose and how we can simplify this. So all these things we will discuss today. And I will now request Anjali. First, I will tell you the program structure. Anjali will show the presentation and Ankit will tell certain things related to what industry is facing. And then the friends from NSC will discuss each and every point. And in the meantime, the questions which we have received, we will throw it after all 4 NSC officials can speak from their side. And then we will have a question answer session, which we have received around 20-25 questions I have received that we will share. Over to you, Anjali, to show your presentation and explain the entire thing so it can be useful for everyone. And simultaneously, whatever point is there, you can ask in the question answer session with the NSC friends.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving the brief as to the nitty-gritties involved in the present regime of the shareholding structure and the modalities and the revisions, shareholding structure changes that have been promulgated by SEBI. Although few of the things are new, but majority of the provisions and the major part which is coming as a big discussion point amongst the companies and amongst our clients as well is the nil shareholding. How to show the nil shareholding, why to show the nil shareholding. Although as you said, 31(4) of LODR talks about all entities falling within the ambit of promoter or promoter group to be disclosed in the shareholding pattern in the respective categories. And few of the companies had already been doing it, but it was not very clearly defined anywhere. Now it is a law and every company will have to gear up to proceed with it. And why you used a word called mapping of promoter group, I think that is the requirement of every company right now, because once we go through the presentation, we'll see that the promoter and promoter group definition and the immediate relative or relatives definition, that is actually a huge list. And unless we do this mapping, somewhere or the other, we'll be ending up filing wrong disclosures. So before we decide upon look into what is the shareholding structure, the most important aspect is to understand who is a promoter. Again, varied definitions under varied laws. Who is a promoter? Who is a promoter group? LODR talks about something else. ICDR talks about something else. Companies Act talks about altogether different things. And then there are PIT regulations and takeover regulations. So if we talk about the LODR regulations, I'll start with LODR. Although all these regulations borrow their definition from ICDR only, but because we are talking about the shareholding pattern, so LODR is the important regulation for us. So anybody who's named in the as a promoter in the offer document or prospectus, This is covered everywhere in all the regulations. Anybody who's named as a promoter in the annual return is also covered everywhere. On whose directions or instructions a company is accustomed to act is covered everywhere. But anybody acting in a professional capacity has been excluded from all the regulations. A big difference between these definitions and what is covered under the takeover regulations is that promoter includes promoter group. Now, and when I come to the definition of promoter group, ICDR says promoter group includes promoter. So there is a difference, there is a confusion. So we need to understand and assimilate as to who is a promoter, who is a promoter group. Promoter group, Companies Act does not define promoter group. They only know promoter. As far as the SEBI regulations are concerned, LODR, PIT, and takeover regulations, they all borrow the definition from ICDR regulations. Now, this is the real difficult definition if I talk about anything in the ICDR regulations. IPO process भी बहुत आसान है, but ये definition difficult है. So when we talk about promoter group, it includes promoters, well understood. Their immediate relatives, I'll be taking up in the coming slides, and any person who has been shown as a promoter group in any of the shareholding patterns. So once a person is there in the shareholding pattern as a promoter group, he will remain as a promoter group unless reclassified. Now, if the my promoters can be individuals, my promoters can be body corporates. If the promoter is a body corporate, it's again a long chain of companies which will fall within the ambit of promoter group. It's holding companies, it's subsidiary companies. Any entity which holds more than 20% in this promoter entity, or any entity wherein this promoter entity holds more than 20%. These all will be promoter group. So every associate will be a promoter group of the company. Where the promoter is an individual, immediate relatives, so we have already covered. Any entity wherein more than 20% capital is held by this promoter or his immediate relatives or HUF. Any body corporate which holds more than 20% in which holds more than 20% in above entities. These all fall within the ambit of promoter group. Now, who is a immediate relative? Immediate relative में मेरे lineal ascendants and descendants सारे covered हैं. My spouse is covered. My spouse and my parents' my spouse's parents are covered. That is in-laws. My children, my siblings are covered, and also my spouse's siblings are covered. That is my brother-in-law and sister-in-law are covered. And my children and my spouse's children are covered. So everybody around me, they are covered in the immediate relatives. But if we'll go through the LODR regulations or ICDR regulations, they do not restrict themselves to immediate relatives. They even define the term relative. They use the word relative. Relative has not been defined anywhere under these laws. They borrow the definition from Companies Act. Companies Act says any of the members of HUF, husband and wife, and the list as prescribed. So under the rules, the list prescribed is this list goes even to step parents, step sister, step brother, sister. So the person's parents are covered. That is covered everywhere in all the regulations. But this list includes step parents as well. Then daughter is covered. Daughter's husband is also covered. Daughter's husband was not covered in the immediate relatives list. Son is covered, including a stepson. Son ki wife is also covered in the relatives list. My sister and my brother are also covered, including stepbrother and stepsister. So this definition goes a step ahead of the definition of immediate relatives, wherein my son-in-law is also being covered and my daughter-in-law is also being covered. But this list is not covering the siblings or relatives of my spouse, as are being covered in the immediate relatives definition. This is a comparative chart of relative and immediate relatives that we tried to assimilate after going through all the regulations. Immediate relatives, SEBI LODR has a different definition. Companies Act has a different definition. ICDR, PIT, and SAST regulations have a different regulations. So parents, of course, are covered everywhere. Children are covered everywhere. Brothers, sisters are covered everywhere. Son's wife, as I said, is covered in the definition of relatives. Daughter's husband is covered in the definition of relatives. So why we are mentioning in LODR or ICDR, wherever the word relative has been used, that is why they have been ticked. In-laws are immediate relatives. They are not covered in the definition of relatives. Step children are step relations are not covered in the any of the relations except Companies Act. But strange enough, stepdaughter is not covered as a relative. Gender bias ho raha hai ye. But whatever. Now, this is a small example we have tried to cover. A person named Karan is the promoter of the company, who all will be included. This is the web: brother, sister, spouse, parents, in-laws, my brother-in-law, sister-in-laws, spouse, daughter, son and daughter. My daughter-in-law will also be covered. My son-in-law will also be covered. Stepdaughter is also covered. Stepson is covered. So, but this list is, if we talk about promoter group, this list is not restricted merely to this level of individuals. We have to go further down to see in what all entities these people would be holding more than 20% of the shares. So this list is going to be never ending, actually. It's a long list. Now, the discussion point of today, shareholding pattern, the amendments that have been brought in. This shareholding structure, we all are well aware of. Table 1 is the general summary. Table 2 is the promoter group details. What amendments have been brought in? In the table 1, that is the summary chart, while including the convertible securities, we were earlier not required to give the ESOP details. Now we have to give the ESOP details as well. And there is a column has been included wherein total number of shares on fully diluted basis, which will include warrants, convertible securities, and ESOPs as well, have been included. Two more columns have been added wherein NDUs given by the promoters, any non-disposal undertakings given by the by any of the shareholders is needed to be given, and other encumbrances are needed to be added. These have their own implications. We'll try to cover up in the next slides. So when we talk about NDU, the major difference between a NDU and a pledge is there is no lien marked in my transaction statement. In case of a NDU, it is the agreement between me being the shareholder and any of the investors that I'll not be disposing of my shares up till a particular point. While we disclose all the NDUs under the takeover regulation disclosures, but SHP there was no disclosure as to that effect. So now we'll be required to disclose the same so that there is a parity between the SAS disclosure and the SHP disclosure. But in the SDD, since we do not mark any entry in the SDD for NDUs, it may bring a disparity. My personal feeling is companies should voluntarily inform the depositories for the NDUs as well, so that this disparity can be weaned away. So just to give an example, if there are 50 lakh shares, out of 50 lakh shares held by a shareholder, 10 lakh are under pledge, 5 lakh are under a NDU. So what is needed to be disclosed in the shareholding pattern? Out of 15 lakh shares, the 10 lakh, total 15 lakh will have to be disclosed under the pledge category 10 lakh and under the NDU category 5 lakh. Now ESOPs are needed to be included because everybody knows that ESOPs ultimately are needed to be would be converted into equity shares, and over a period of the ESOP cycle, the capital will be diluted. So SEBI have thought it wise to include the ESOP shares as well, grants as well in the shareholding pattern. So one thing that is coming to my mind is, do we have to mention all the grants, whether vested or unvested, in the shareholding pattern from the FAQs which have been issued by NSC? So I feel that it is the all the grants which have been given, whether vested or not, they are needed to be disclosed. So company has granted 1 lakh ESOPs to the employees, which are vested but not yet exercised. Still, do I have to disclose? Yes, we'll have to disclose. Entire 1 lakh will have to be disclosed in the SHP. Fully diluted shareholding, we have already covered. It has to include warrants, outstanding warrants. It has to include convertible securities, whether in the form of CCDs or OCDs or CCPS or OCPS, and ESOPs as well. Again, tried to exemplify the situation. My existing paid up capital is 1 crore. Convertible warrants are 10 lakh. ESOPs, ESOPs, or rather it should be ESOPs, are 1 lakh. And CCDs are 5 lakh shares. We'll have to include entire 1.16 crore as the shares in the shareholding pattern, which would comprise of 1 crore existing share capital, 10 lakh of warrants, 1 lakh of ESOPs, and 5 lakh of CCDs. Now, the major discussion point that has been going on, promoter and promoter group nil shareholding. Although I again feel that it is not a old provision, it is not a new provision. It has been there since 2018, but still now, since it is being made a part of the regulation and of the format, so some hiccups are there, initial hiccups are there. So anybody, any promoter or promoter group holding nil shares, his details will have to be included in the shareholding pattern. Although in the format, it has been mentioned that it has to be added by way of a footnote under under table 2. That little bit simplifies the situation. But if I go by this, that means even a 1-year-old child of mine and 90-year-old parents or in-laws of mine would also be a part. I'll have to show their details as well in the shareholding pattern. And either of them are not interested in my company or in the functioning of my company in any way. So maybe some phased uh, gradation can be done by the regulators in this respect. In the table 2, revised table 2, following details, it has come by way of a note. We have mentioned, covered it. Now, this is a very, very important slide looking at the definitions of the promoter, promoter group, and the immediate relatives. So, company X is XYZ Limited is a listed entity wherein A is the promoter. Promoter group में कौन-कौन आएगा? Mrs. A आएंगी, Mr. A और Mrs. A के parents आएंगे, their children would be coming, Mr. A and Mrs. A's siblings would be coming, and any body corporate, the entities shown in red are the difficult areas. The ones in black are easily, comparatively under my own control, and it's easy to get the details. So any body corporate or firm wherein these people, my siblings or my in-law, my brother-in-law or sister-in-law hold more than 20% might be a difficult task. Although this is there since a long time, but still it might be it is a difficult list to be obtained. To asking my brother-in-law कि आप किस किस company में more than 20% hold करते हो, going to be a humongous task, and especially in a situation wherein there are disputes or no talk relations. So the implication of this particular thing is company will have to ask for the PANs of all the siblings, be it my or my in-laws side. Then company will have to assess as to their holding in the company. Then I'll have the question becomes difficult if my brother or my brother-in-law has a separate business, maybe a competing one. or there are any family dispute, they will not want to share their PAN number. There are many such cases wherein the brothers and sisters do not want to share their PAN numbers or their transaction details. So then it's going to be a little difficult task. And how the compliance officer will track their shareholding transactions, or if they buy or sell, do anything during the quiet period, it's going to be very difficult. How will the compliance officer be ever able to check मेरे brother की या मेरे brother-in-law की shareholding more than 20% in any of the body corporates? Now, some of the questions which came to our mind, and these are actually practical questions which have been asked to us from our clients as well. If my brother-in-law has been holding certain shares in an entity, and this entity holds 3% shares in my company, by including this 3% in my promoter group, my promoter's holding reaches 75% threshold, what will be the scenario? Or there may be a situation wherein by including these people in the promoter group, or by virtue of this fact coming to my knowledge, they were holding the shares, they were appearing in the public category, I was not aware of that entity being the entity of my brother-in-law. If it breaches the limits of the regulation 3 takeover limits of 5% acquisition in a financial year, again a big question. Interstate transfer. SEBI takeover regulations allow interstate transfer between qualifying promoters. Qualifying promoters are any of the shareholders and any of the promoters being shown in the promoter or promoter group for a period of 3 years. Can I do a interstate transfer with any of my brother-in-law's entities ever and be exempted from takeover regulations? These are these are real questions which will be arising over a period of time. Another disclosure, these have been there in the shareholding patterns for a long time, but honestly, companies have not been very cautious about it. The shareholding in table 3, we have to show the shareholding of the directors and their relatives. This relatives definition is coming from Companies Act. It is not the immediate relatives definition. We have to be cautious about this. Then relatives of the promoters other than immediate relatives, which have already been disclosed in table 2. So that means जो लोग वहां पे immediate relative की definition में नहीं आए थे, say my भाभी, so then she would be coming in this list under table 3, and shareholders acting in as persons acting in concert would be coming as a footnote. Person acting in concert has not been defined anywhere except under the takeover regulations, so the definition has to be taken from there. Sorry. So example, a case study. If A is holding certain shares in the company, A is the promoter, Mrs. A is also holding 20 lakh shares. ABC Private Limited is holding nil shares. This is the present shareholding pattern that the company is following. Since it is holding nil shares, it is not being included in the promoter group by that entity. Then Mrs. D, she's the daughter-in-law of Mr. A. She has also, since she is also holding nil shares, she's also not being shown in the promoter category or promoter group category. Then Mrs. M, being the mother-in-law of Mr. A, because she is also holding nil shares, even she is not being shown in the promoter category, promoter group category. But the correct depiction for Mrs. D or Mrs. M will be that Mrs. M has to be disclosed in table A being a part of the promoter group, immediate relative. She is the mother-in-law of the promoter, so she is a promoter group and she has to be shown in the shareholding pattern. And Mrs. D should be shown under table 3 in the relatives of promoters other than immediate relatives. So this would be the correct depiction of various relatives or immediate relatives of mine. Now what to do? All these things look, इससे तो लग रहा है कि बहुत difficult है सारा shareholding pattern बनाना. No, that is not the case. जो नई amendments आई हैं, they are comparatively much simpler to add. बट जो एग्जिस्टिंग है उस पे अभी तक हमने अगर ध्यान नहीं दिया था, इट्स बेटर टू गिव करेक्ट कैटेगराइजेशन, द करेक्ट कैटेगराइजेशन. एज वी सेड, मैपिंग ऑफ ऑल द शेयर होल्डर्स, मैपिंग ऑफ ऑल द कैटेगरीज ऑफ promoter, promoter relatives, immediate relatives should be done. इनफैक्ट हमारे पास पिछले 3 महीने में बहुत सारी इस तरह की क्वेरीज आई हैं, वेयर इन वी आर डूइंग दिस ऑडिट फॉर द शेयर होल्ड फॉर द कंपनीज एज टू हु फॉल्स विद इन द एम्बिट ऑफ रिलेटिव, immediate relative. So this is one of the things one which companies should do to avoid any of the confusions or wrong disclosures. And plan reclassification in accordance with 31A. So if any of the person is eligible for reclassification, the company or the person himself should consider that I want to be reclassified from the promoter or promoter group to the public category. That's it from my side, explaining the nitty-gritties. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Anjali, for giving detailed presentation in the raising various issue. No doubt, this topic is little bit complicated, which I think, despite of SEBI's FAQ, we have received 42 questions, 45 questions. Okay, so it means there is a need of proper clarity and proper. So now, Mansi, Asim, Mandar, Vinod, can we discuss now from your side? Mansi, can you start that? What what are the implications? Why it has come? What do you think it will helpful? So accordingly, anybody can, and it's from the side of NSC, and anybody can start. Yeah.
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, Mandar.
Before I begin, I hope I am audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. Once again, I am Mandar Desai, working with Regulatory Department of the Exchange. So as we all are aware, the purpose of today's webinar is to decode the filing of shareholding pattern after the recent amendment by SEBI, wide circular dated March 2025. And I think Pawan sir and Anjali ma'am have already covered major things beautifully. So now I will try to cover things from regulatory point of view. Actually, this modification has come after certain requests which had been given from our end and depositories for providing better clarity and transparency in the disclosure of shareholding pattern. We all can divide this modification in three parts. That is inclusion of ESOP, additional column for capturing the details pertaining to the shares on fully diluted basis, and addition of separate columns pertaining to NDU. So I will begin with ESOP. Previously, in the column of number of shares underlying outstanding convertible securities, ESOP was not specifically included. Now the modification is made to include the ESOP. If you have referred the latest utility, we have bifurcated column 10 into three further parts into the SHP utility. So that is convertible securities, outstanding warrants, and outstanding ESOPs. You all can refer 10A, 10B, and 10C of the utility. I'm not talking about the circular which had been issued by the SEBI. I'm talking about the SHP utility. Okay. So if I have to say from exchange point of view, previously the companies were not disclosing the details of ESOP in the shareholding pattern. And since because specific column was not available. However, the companies were putting the details of ESOP in paid up capital on diluted basis in NEEPS portal. Hence, from the point of view of diluted paid up capital, the clear picture was not available with the exchanges through the shareholding pattern. Hence, to enhance transparency in the disclosure of shareholding pattern, this field pertaining to ESOP has been included. Further, as you all are aware, all the listed entities are required to report the diluted share capital to the exchange whenever there is any change in the diluted share capital. It had been also observed that many companies are not capturing the details of are not updating the diluted paid up share capital or let's say many companies inadvertently fail to report the diluted share capital. Hence, we had given a suggestion to SEBI that a new column pertaining to diluted share capital be added in the shareholding pattern. This column consists of warrants, ESOP, and convertible securities. One important point which all should note that companies should note that the figure or this figure is also being used by the depositories to calculate foreign investment limits in the Indian listed companies. And that's why this figure is very important, not only from the exchange point of view, but also from the listed companies point of view. However, even though now this field is added in the shareholding pattern, the company should continue to update the details of diluted share capital as and when there is change in the diluted capital on NEEP's portal as well. Since the shareholding pattern is generally filed on a quarterly basis by the listed entities, unless there is any change in the capital. I'm talking about 31C basically. Now since we are on the ESOP part, I will also try to share some common queries which we have been receiving from the companies. And I think some of the queries I also read in question and answer section as well. But since I was going to cover these queries, I had not answered them. So let's say what we have observed is many companies are having a basic query with respect to whether they should cover ESOPs which are vested or granted. Then everybody please note that here our focus is on the granted ESOPs. So everybody is requested to include the details of outstanding ESOPs granted as on the end of quarter while making a disclosure in the shareholding pattern. We are not concerned about ESOPs which are vested. Okay. Many companies are also not sure whether or where to put details pertaining to ESOPs which are granted to employees of their companies. So I will try to cover this in brief. So let's say your employee is falling under a specific category which is already mentioned in the SHP format. For example, KMP, director, or something like that, then please note these details must be filled at the corresponding categories only, not anywhere else. Or let's say in some other scenario, if the employee is not holding any shares as on the end of the quarter, so in such cases, details have to be mentioned in the shareholding column in the outstanding ESOP column under non-institution, any other, and then companies are requested to select drop down of ESOP or ESOS or ESPS. The number of shareholders and shares held in this scenario should be zero since the employee was not holding any shares. So this is one of the common query which we do receive on a daily basis. Now in another other scenario, let's say that employee is a shareholder as on end of quarter. Then in that case, their shareholding and outstanding ESOP should be mentioned in non-institution, any other, and the drop down of employee should be selected. Okay. So further, we have also noticed that many companies are having a common question, and that is related to inclusion of nil shareholders of promoter group. So if you will ask my personal opinion, then I will say that please note that nothing has been changed, neither ICDR or LODR. It's just that SEBI has recognized the fact that nil shareholding of promoter group has to be mentioned in the shareholding pattern. And I will request accordingly to all the listeners and listed entities to abide by the SEBI regulations and disclose the details accordingly. Now I have with me Vinod, who will take us all with respect, or he will cover ESOP in detail and some other additional scenarios which we have been receiving on a daily basis from the listed entities.
Thank you, Mandar. Vinod, my request is that all these, Vinod, can you unmute yourself? Yeah.
Yes.
Vinod, my request is the questions which has come, we will take up at the last. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So first, from your side, whatever issues and whatever points you are getting, So you can give that prospect. So ESOP is one of the issue where people are now thinking that ESOP was not a anytime connected to the controlling or the shareholding. It is a different, it's giving to employee. So now they are including. So
Yes,
logic.
sir,
Yeah,
it's different.
please go ahead.
First of all, thank you, Mandar. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good.
I am Vinod from Listing Regulatory Department of the Exchange. Hope I am audible.
Yes, yes, you are.
I'll try to give further insights in ESOP related amendments from where the Mandar had left. As per recent amendment in shareholding pattern, listed entities are now required to report the total number of ESOP granted under the company's ESOP scheme that remain outstanding. This includes both vested and unvested options. Let me illustrate this with a simple example. If the company has granted 10,000 ESOPs and yet the company has not allotted any equity shares under this scheme, therefore the total outstanding ESOP stand at 10,000 and company have to report 10,000 as a outstanding ESOP grant in shareholding pattern. It's important to note that these disclosures helps stakeholders to understand the potential dilution in equity capital. Let's now understand when a company should select no option in the declaration sheet of shareholding pattern. In case if a company has never granted any ESOPs or all granted ESOPs have been fully allotted and there are no outstanding options, then in such case company should select no option in the declaration sheet, because in such cases there is a no dilution in shareholding pattern and exchange want diluted paid up capital for foreign for monitoring limits of foreign investment. Here is a simple example to illustrate this. If the company has granted 10,000 ESOP options under which company has allotted 10,000 shares and no outstanding ESOP grant will be there in a scheme, then since all options have been exercised and converted into shares, so there is no further impact on equity. Hence, the company is not required to report any outstanding ESOPs under new format. Let's now talk about how lapse options should be treated under the new disclosure requirement, because exchange has received many queries regarding lapse options. So, if any ESOP lapse for any reason, such as resignation, expiry, or non-fulfillment of vesting conditions, or any other, those options should be not be considered as a outstanding ESOP grants. However, if the company reissue ESOPs in lieu of lapsed ESOPs, then those reissued options must be included in the count of outstanding ESOPs as and when company is reissuing ESOP in lieu of lapsed ESOPs. Here is a simple example for that. If the company has granted 10,000 ESOP options, out of which 2,000 ESOP options has been lapsed. So in this scenario, outstanding ESOP grants will be 8,000 and companies have to report 8,000 into outstanding ESOP grant column of shareholding pattern, and that 2,000 lapse options will not form part of outstanding ESOP grants. Now let's address how companies should report ESOPs when multiple schemes are in place. If a company having more than one scheme, company must consolidate data from all the schemes and disclose the total number of outstanding ESOP grants in shareholding pattern. So this will ensure that the disclosure reflects the complete picture of potential equity dilution. The ESOP disclosure in shareholding pattern is not a one-time exercise. It must made it must be made on a continuous basis, quarter after quarter, until all outstanding ESOP grants are fully exhausted. Let's now discuss how ESOPs will be reported when implemented through a trust route, because many companies are asking queries regarding scheme when the scheme is implemented through trust route. If a company has outstanding ESOP grants that does not dilute the paid up equity share capital upon exercise of options, upon exercise of ESOPs by employees, then in such case, company should select no option in the declaration sheet of shareholding pattern and company need not to be report this in a shareholding pattern. For example, if the ESOP scheme is implemented through a trust that acquires share via secondary market purchase, or if the company has already allotted shares to the trust against outstanding ESOP grants, then these grants do not result in dilution of equity share capital. In such case, they should not be disclosed in the outstanding ESOP granted column of shareholding pattern. Rationale behind this scenario is the shares are already reflected in the name of trust under non-promoter and non-public category in shareholding pattern and already form part of a paid up equity share capital, and there will be no dilution upon exercise of this option by the employee. Only thing happen here is the shares in the name of trust will be transferred to the public category in respect to subcategory of employee. However, if the company allots fresh equity shares to the trust in tranches, then all outstanding ESOP grant must be reported until shares are allotted to trust against outstanding ESOP options, even though the scheme is implemented through a trust route. But there is remain a possibility of potential dilution, and that must be disclosed. Next, we have received one interesting query regarding ESOP scheme implemented through trust route. Generally, in administered ESOP scheme, trust transfer shares to employees upon exercise of option. The trust may acquire these shares in one of two ways: through secondary market or through fresh allotment of shares by the company to the trust. Now, here is an important point. Since in some cases it may not be clear whether future acquisitions made by trust will be through fresh issuance or secondary market purchase. So, in these cases, exchanges are advised to listed companies to report all outstanding ESOPs grants in a full, assuming that all shares will be issued afresh. An explanatory note should be included in shareholding pattern clarifying that future acquisitions may occur through either mode. This approach ensures transparency and avoid underreporting of potential dilution. Now let's turn our attention towards employee stock appreciation rights and how they impact shareholding disclosures. Normally, in employee stock appreciation rights, companies have options to settle the appreciations either through cash or by allotting equity shares. In case companies are settling the appreciation through cash, then there is no need to reporting in shareholding pattern. However, for companies that have ESOP scheme where the appreciation is settled through allotment of equity shares, there is potential for dilution of paid up equity share capital. Since the companies are asking what number should be reported in shareholding pattern in case of ESR, since the number of shares to be issued depend on market price at the time of exercise of grants by the employee. In this regard, companies are advised to use the market price as on quarter end date while calculating the appreciations under employee stock appreciation rights scheme for the purpose of disclosing outstanding shares in the outstanding ESOP grant column of shareholding pattern. This will ensure consistency and transparency in reporting potential dilution. Finally, let's touch upon employee stock purchase scheme and their impact on shareholding disclosure. If an employee stock purchase scheme has the potential to dilute the company's paid up equity share capital, then the details of outstanding ESPS grants must be included in outstanding ESOP grant column of shareholding pattern. At the end, it is to be noted that all equity linked employee benefit schemes, whether it is ESOP, SR, or ESPS, are transparently reported when they are carrying possibility of dilution. Before we wrap up, here is a helpful resources for listed companies. The National Stock Exchange has released updated FAQ on July 9, 2025. These FAQs are self-explanatory and specifically made to address common questions related to ESOPs and shareholding pattern. Listed companies are advised to refer these FAQs to ensure accurate and complete disclosure in shareholding pattern. Now after ESOP, moving towards next part of modification, NDU. Earlier, we have covered what is NDU. In simple words, it is an agreement wherein shareholder has agreed not to sell off the shares. So, company should advise to contact their register and transfer agent for this part and get the details for reporting in shareholding pattern. Thank you, corporate professional team, for inviting us in the webinar.
Okay, thank you, Vinod. Thank you very much for covering in detail. I think you have expertise in ESOP, okay, relating things. Thank you very much. Okay, now Asim and Charu, your point of view. Sorry, Asim and Mansi, your point of view. Then we'll start question answer. And the way question answer has come, 55 questions and 20 questions with me, 75 questions. So you can understand how much curiosity, how much misunderstanding. So many questions you have answered, but even then we have to discuss. Yeah, Asim, please.
Hi. So, in this recent amendment, am I audible?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So, in the recent amendment, SEBI has just recognized few points which companies have a query. Company know that thing, but there was no clarity in that. Like dilution of, I start with the dilution of the capital. So the ESOP is a very common practice, and some company used to report in the diluted. But there was no clear-cut definition for the new listed company, new company secretary, why they are dilution asking, why diluted share capital should be derived. So through this recent amendment, we try to simplify the language, the definitions. So exchange officers has worked effortlessly to simplify these definitions to the companies. And the second thing, the promoter and promoter group. So the new companies, when they are coming for the listing, so there is a rigorous process of identifying the promoter and promoter group. So these things are already in the line with the new companies. So SEBI has just given the recognition that this should be reported, because there's some part of evasion that the companies companies intentionally don't want to disclose that PG group. So there may be some MPS breach when the acquisition done through the promoter group. So that identification will be there. So it will be help us to exchange to tap that kind of things. So the investor can be protected. So there should be no evasion from the company side. So just SEBI has now clearly come with these amendments. So it will better help understand companies to better understanding the issues. The clarity will be there. So this is a simplification. I will say this is a simplification of the answers of the companies. So this is I want to input in this. Rest all detail part has the cover that Vinod and Mandar has already covered.
Yeah. Mansi, you will give the question answers, or should I start question answer? Okay. So friends, today the questions are pouring like anything. So I'm starting with this. So Anjali, Vinod and Asim. So Vinod, all ESOP question I will ask you. Asim and Mandar, the
Okay, sir.
general question other questions I will ask, and wherever Anjali you want to put input, you can give.
You can ask ESOP question to us also. Me and Mandar will also able to answer.
Okay, we will. What I'll do, I will ask question. Anybody can give answer. Okay, because
Okay.
Yeah, you may just read out the question and then
I'm reading out. I'm just doing. Okay, because so the first is, as per our understanding of the circular, listed entities are required to disclose the names of all promoter and number of promoter group in the quarterly shareholding pattern member. Okay. Irrespective of whether they hold any shares in the listed entity, many listed companies are part of the conglomerate, both India and global, and the list of entities could run into hundreds and thousands of entities, India and abroad. So this is one ease of doing business and disclosure point of view. So Asim, Mandar, Vinod, anybody can tell, Mansi, anybody that so many companies, so many people, so many things. So how it will look like?
Uh, I think we have. I hope I'm audible
Yeah,
because
yeah,
my mother,
yeah,
right?
please.
Yeah. So see, I think during webinar, I think I tried to cover or I tried to touch upon this point. Basically, see, we are expecting companies to put in details of all the promoter and promoter group, even if they are not holding any shares. The reason is, I agree it can be tedious at times, but please try to understand there have been multiple instances wherein we have observed that there are people who are immediate relatives of the promoters, and then also they were not included in the shareholding pattern just because of the fact that initially they were not holding any shares. Now, I will try to give you one simple example, and it is very simple. I hope you all will able to relate to it. Let's say that there is a company in which promoters had 73% of the shares. Okay, so as on date, this company is compliant with MPS provisions. Now, what happens is there is one daughter of the promoter. She had no shares initially when this company was formed. Okay, and that is the reason company was not disclosing her name into the shareholding pattern. Now, what happens is, initially, let's say when this company was formed, she was a minor. Let's say after 4 or 5 years, she, she goes into the open market, she buys 3% of the shares. And that company had a malified intention of not disclosing, or that company had a malified intention. Because of which, now what has happened is, since she has acquired 3% shares, now the promoter holding in the company has gone up to 76%. Technically, this company has become MPS non-compliant. Technically, there are other provisions which company and its promoters, along with that, their directors have violated. But since the daughter of that promoter was sitting in the public category, the tapping of this MPS, or let's say non-compliance pertaining to MPS, could not be done. So I think apart from looking at this is a tedious work, what I will say is there should be a certain broadness which every company secretary and other people who are related to the secretarial departments and they should have this broadness of mind to think about why SEBI is asking this, or why this has been bought upon by SEBI. So yes, the answer is everybody who is forming part of promoter and promoter group has to be included in the shareholding pattern in the promoter and promoter group category, even if they are not holding any shares in the company. I hope I have
I,
tried to
Yeah,
yeah,
cover.
my one question is that if we have to just for the clarification to the industry. Now, industry first today, because they were giving only those who are holding shares. So they have to check only these two categories, that who are holding shares, whether they are promoter group, that's all. But now we have to take everyone as per the immediate relative definition, as per company where they are holding 20% shares. And then we have to, this exercise the department was not doing earlier. Now they have to see that who is promoter group, and their all entities, and then they have to put it. Suppose there are so many companies where they have shown some promoter group person because of their name was there in prospectus, but now they are not holding shares. But now that name also coming, they are not relative, that name also coming because of they have shown promoter somewhere. So this exercise required time also. So do you think that it is not cumbersome to identify somebody, or the regulator is giving some timeline that in case you are giving and tomorrow you forget some name and you want to add that time this problem should not come? Is it some discussion has come
So
internally?
So, sir, what happens is generally, when the companies come and file shareholding patterns, I hope you and many people would be aware of the fact that it is not the case that company has come and filed shareholding pattern. It is subject to adequacy and accuracy. There are 10-12 factors of the exchanges which we perform, and then if we are satisfied that this shareholding pattern is okay, then only we close that case. So what happens is, if we feel that a company has missed out on disclosing, and if we come across any such case, or let's say on a suo motu basis also, so there are very good corporate governance compliant companies in the India as well, that they have on a suo motu basis come to us and said, sir, we have missed out on adding somebody as a promoter or promoter group. Then in this case, we as a NSE, I'm saying that we allow the revision, and we allow revision even though revision comes after the due date. See, we and obviously SEBI as well, if you will see, even when the regulations come into force, nobody is expecting to comply from the next day. The intention of regulator is always to comply with the regulations in the spirit and law. So we are not saying that today or tomorrow immediately companies are required to disclose the details, but yes, we are expecting companies to perform certain permutation combinations, certain calculations, and if they feel that they have missed out on adding someone, they can come to us. We will open their shareholding patterns for the revisions, and then from the next quarter, they can make sure, or they need to make sure that those details are in continuous nature. And in case if they want to remove somebody from the promoter or promoter group category, they will have to file an application for reclassification, and that due process is followed. I also heard some time back, sir, you said that reclassification procedure is bit tedious. Yes, earlier it was, but now I think it is not a tedious process. Companies have to go to the shareholders, they have to take their approvals, and stock exchanges are now only giving NOCs for getting the application, or getting the application for reclassification. So I think so the company should look at this provision in a spirit and law. And I will not say that there is exact or strict timeline, but yes, we are expecting companies to perform certain, as I said, permutation and combinations, and do certain calculations to make sure that everybody is included in the promoter and promoter group category.
Sir, otherwise also, I think what Mandar was saying, in case one feels that we have missed out somebody to be included in the shareholding pattern as promoter or promoter group, if we approach them ki we want to refile, exchange allows it, that if it's a minor mistake, then they allow it for refiling.
Okay, no, Mandar, my one very interesting question. That suppose I'm going to shareholder and removing the name of the person who is my immediate relative, but I'm not connected to him, and shareholder approves this. So stock exchange is seeing shareholder resolution only, or they are seeing other things also, that how you can remove immediate relative, how you can remove the name of the person whose name was there in the prospectus. So what is the legal scene from stock exchange side?
So, sir, basically, I will say that the authority to grant approval is given to the shareholders, but that does not stop stock exchanges to perform their function, because because people, even SEBI and market, everybody looks after us, since they feel that we are first level regulator. So stock exchanges do perform their functions. There are certain, I am not able to exactly recollect, there are certain provisions which are in force, which say that in which cases the stock exchanges should give NOC or not give. Let's say if somebody is immediate relative or holding 15-20 percentage, and then also he's saying that I don't want to be part of promoter or promoter group, then there are certain criterias. A person has to fulfill those criterias, and then only NOC will be given from the stock exchanges. But ultimate authority to give approval is being given to the shareholders now. But to answer your questions, yes, stock exchange is going to perform their function because that is the responsibility of the exchange.
So you're muted.
Okay. Now there are two questions which are correlated, and they are asking, is disclosure mandatory if the shareholder belong to the promoter group but does not hold shares? Answer is yes. Promoter group need to be identified as per SEBI ICDR. If company has so far disclosed only those who hold shares, should it now disclose other person entity falling under the promoter group definition in the June quarter? Answer is yes. Okay. Now next question. Does a public charitable trust where one of the promoters is a trustee fall under the definition of promoter group?
Sir, under the definition of takeover, and as per takeover regulations, you have to take SEBI approval to include a trust in the promoters category, promoter or promoter group category.
Any different view from Mandar, Vinod, Asim, and Mansi? Okay.
No, I think Anjali has correctly covered it. The SEBI approval is mandatory.
Okay. If a company is in the promoter group, does not hold any share, but is stockbroker that temporarily hold client shares at quarterly end, how should this be disclosed?
I didn't get the question.
If a company in a promoter group
Hmm.
does not hold any shares, but is a stockbroker that temporarily hold client shares at the quarter end, how should this be disclosed? I think they are holding not as a owner, but they are holding on behalf of the client, so there's no need to disclose this.
It will not be appearing in his transaction statement. और बेनपॉस में उसका नाम नहीं आएगा अभी.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can a promoter's HUF, which is currently disclosed as promoter, be shown at promoter group as per ICDR? Promoter's HUF.
Yes.
Okay. The promoter's wife is part of the promoter group as per the definition. If her brother must also be included, but they are not in contact, how can PAN and other detail be obtained? How should this be reported? Now, this is a general problem. Okay. They are saying that now suddenly I'm identified this person as my relative, and now I have to show, or this person who was my partner, he has delinked me and he has gone out of India, wherever it is. But now I have to get his PAN number and show. So what is the solution for this?
So PAN number will have to be taken.
No, but he's not talking to me. How can he give the PAN number?
Sir, it is very difficult to identify that it is telling truth or not. Somebody, if I want to don't want to disclose anyone, so I can say, nah, it is not traceable. He's not giving the PAN number. So we cannot authenticate that kind of cases.
Okay, Charu, what will you do if you have to give information and your client's relative is not giving number?
Then we must. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Sir, we have to establish the fact that we are not. Maybe some affidavit or something can be submitted there, because this is an actual case where we have done this.
Okay, what is the case?
So basically, they were not in talking terms, and we had submitted some affidavit or something that we are not in talking terms with that, and we have there is an agreement or a family settlement between us.
Okay.
So,
Asim, tell me one thing. If the promoter can prove that it made efforts, say it has written many mails or letters to the promoter, to the brother, asking for the PAN number and other things, still he is not replying.
If there is family settlement,
Settlement is a different thing. I agree. Settlement is a
Yes.
different thing. But then if I am trying to get all the details, but still the brother or my sister is not responding.
see, thousands में से कोई एक ऐसा केस हो सकता है, but any case, because अगर ऐसा कुछ करेंगे तो everybody will start doing that.
I'm not denying that.
Asim, the practical problem is,
see, we cannot make the law for the exceptions. So that will be exception. So we will look at that point. कि ऐसा कुछ exception आता है तो exchange will see, they can go for the SEBI for the guidance. What can be done? But if you allow these things, so everybody will start coming. So it will very established. So line लग जाएगा कि यार मेरा भी नहीं है, मेरे से बात नहीं करता, ये ऐसा नहीं है, because nobody want to get involved in the promoter group because there are lots of regulatory actions are there. So it can become the mode of evasion for the companies.
But Asim, there is a practical problem. What is happening?
See, this is
You have-
exception. I am saying it can be exception. Exception can be handled as exception. There is proper bodies, courts are there, SEBI is there. They can approach to the exchanges. So by the helping them, we can consult the regulator what can be done in that cases. But
Okay.
for the generalized, we cannot generalize this thing.
See,
So-
basically, if there is any kind of exception of this kind, a special case may be discussed with SEBI, a guidance may be taken from SEBI, etc. But as a frontline regulator, we cannot accept this kind of, this justification. Reason being is there may be multiple companies who may come up with this. So then a law has to be, it cannot have exceptions, as Asim rightly said. Law cannot be made for exceptions. In general sake, everybody has to abide by it. 1 in a million case, if there is any kind of exception, a special guidance may be taken from SEBI. But
Yeah.
but we cannot upfrontly agree to this justification, given by the companies, basically.
Got your point. The point is for everybody, in case you are finding difficult to get information, you have to give logic, you have to give undertaking and submit to the stock exchange. And stock exchange can give permission and something which is on a principal basis, they can talk to SEBI and get their answer. Okay. Now, should sibling of a promoter spouse who never held shares, are not involved in company and are not close family, shall be included in the promoter group? So friend, if it is in coming promoter group definition, you have to disclose whatever relation, whatever understanding you have. If a holding company has multiple listed subsidiaries and step down subsidiaries, can a listed subsidiary disclose only the direct subsidiary under promoter group?
There is no distinction as to the listed subsidiary or unlisted subsidiary. All the subsidiaries will fall within the ambit of promoter group.
Because more than 20% they are holding.
Yeah.
Okay. Can friend from NSC, in case Anjali or other person is giving answer, I'm giving answer, and if you have a different view or you want to add, please speak on this.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Okay. Now, can immediate relative be removed from promoter group through reclassification or approval granted in such case? The same question which I was asking, it has come.
Sir, it depends. It totally depends on case to case basis. What are the terms between them? How exchanges are very reserved on these topics, because they are covered in the promoter group.
So, NSC, what is your view? He is an immediate relative and they want to remove reclassification.
It cannot be allowed.
Okay. Okay.
So basically, again,
Unless-
as far as reclassification is concerned, things will be taken up on a case-to-case basis. And once the application is received from the company, it will be kind of evaluated and verified based on the circumstantial as well as based on the justification provided by the company.
Okay. Do we need disclose promoter group detail with nil shareholding in NSDL issue portal?
I think they are talking about digital structural
Yeah.
database. So the answer is yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So companies need to make sure that promoter and promoter group or person forming part of promoter and promoter group, they are exactly the same in NSC and the designated depository.
Okay. Okay. If a promoter holds shares under their pen on behalf of non-promoter person as a trustee, should these shares be shown under promoter holding in the SHA as shareholding pattern?
Can you repeat the question?
If a promoter holds shares under their pen on behalf of non-promoter person as a trustee, so I am holding shares On
So-
behalf of you, I am holding shares on behalf of you, but my PAN number has gone. So when they will search, my name will come. But I am holding on your behalf.
Sir, I think SBO, this is what the concept of SBO is.
Yes, yes.
So he has to disclose this.
Yeah.
And in case he is holding, then whatever trusteeship concept and whatever the way.
If there is he's a trustee, so there is a chapter in the section the Companies Act which entirely cover this trust, the control of the trust and how the trust is made. So preferably refer to that definition. So it is not
Okay.
possible if it is a trustee and that,
Okay.
and it is in the public.
If immediate relative of promoter do not hold any shares, should their name should be disclosed? Answer is yes. Do we need to continue disclosing promoter and promoter group as per the existing list in the system-driven disclosure, or should we update to include those holding nil shares as per ICDR?
Yes, already answered, sir. Yes.
Is it mandatory to disclose promoter's son or daughter who do not hold shares, give the money? Many large companies do not currently do so. Answer is you have to disclose because it is promoter. They will come under promoter, even though they are not holding shares. If a company has two individual promoter, is it mandatory to disclose their relative with nil holding in table 2? What about regulation 31? Answer is yes, you have to give. Okay. If the list of promoter group member with nil shareholding is very large, is it enough to add them as a footnote or must be listed individually in the table? I think in
the table, I think Mandar can answer this, but otherwise in the table they have to come.
Yeah, Mandar, they have to give in the table now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Should promoter group members with nil shareholding be disclosed strictly as per ICDR or only those who previously held shares? Answer is both.
Everybody.
Can partial reclassification be done if, for example, a promoter's brother wants to reclassification as public but is no longer in contact? So,
Answer is no.
if a minor
So
child of a,
I think a better, I mean, if there is a settlement agreement, there can be a reclassification can be possible.
Hmm.
Otherwise, if no settlement agreement, nothing is there, then reclassification of an immediate relative is not possible.
Yes.
If a minor child of a promoter is part of promoter group under ICDR, is PAN disclosure mandatory? If yes, what should be given if the child does not have PAN?
It is covered in the FAQ.
Okay.
Yes.
So please refer the FAQ, it is covered. Should we disclose all entities where a promoter directly holds 20% or more, or also include those where there is a indirect holding of 20% or more? So a point is 20% more is there. Indirectly, you are holding more 20% and more. That also we disclose or not?
I think then the concept of beneficial ownership comes in, right?
Okay.
And again, indirect control, and control is exactly not defined. So I will say, if on a sumoto basis somebody is saying that I am indirectly holding, then yes.
Okay. I am a promoter of a listed company and I am a partner 30% in joint venture holding with Mr. X holding 30%, Y is 30%. My company is proposing a preferential issue wherein Mrs. X want to be subscribed to the share. Will she be classified as deemed PSC with the promoter of the company? Anjali?
Yeah, in table 3, under the person acting in concert category, the other person's name will have to come.
Okay. I am the promoter of XYZ Limited. I have gifted some shares to my niece. Owing reference to regulation 31A subsection 6 of the LODR regulation, will my niece be classified as promoter?
Promoter.
So that also clarify anything, anybody you are giving gift.
No need to ask. If promoter is gifting someone, he will become promoter.
Okay, Asim, promoter is gifting to his girlfriend.
She will also become promoter.
So all the
he has to
promoters,
take permission from his wife.
all the promoters, please be there. Okay. So if you are giving gift to anyone, he will come in the promoter. Okay. the main promoter, Mr. P of PQR Limited, has deceased and his son has become the promoter of the company. In that case, whether people related to Mr. P as shown up in the promoter group be classified, or they shall continue to be shown in the promoter and promoter group. That is very interesting question. I suppose I am the promoter and my son has taken over because I no more I expired. So
We have the answer.
whether my relative they will be shown or they will be automatically disconnect, and I can reclassify it.
No, they'll have to continue to be shown. I mean,
Any different view?
No, sir, there isn't anything called automatic removal. Now
But
it
my
will
name- no, I
आपका तो हो गया जो the person
मैं
who's
तो
no
चला
more,
गया, मैं तो
हाँ,
मेरा
the
तो काम
person
हो
who's
गया.
no more वो तो ठीक है, but then anybody who has become the legal hire will automatically step into the shoes of the person who has passed away.
But Anjali,
Like,
my relationship with
I'm
my
coming to
brother-
that. Yeah, your sister, she was a part of the promoter group earlier. Now she is Bua, actually, not within the definition of immediate relative of the promoter. Mandar, I think we can apply for reclassification of her if the holding and other things are being met.
yeah, we
with-
don't mind. We don't mind companies applying for that, but till the time it is, till the time application for reclassification is filed, please continue
Yes,
mentioning
yes.
them to
Agreed.
the.
Totally
And then,
agreed. Yeah.
as I have already cleared, that if somebody is passing the test of getting themselves out of the promoter and promoter group category through reclassification process, then we do not have any issue. So that person should fulfill the criteria.
Correct.
But
Right.
my opinion, my relationship, my sister who is not holding shares, she is there, and now I'm not there. So my earlier she was not holding shares, and her name was coming because of me, and I'm no more. So his name should also go. So in my opinion, till the transmission takes place, the disease name to continue by mentioning since disease, and after that you can go for reclassification or you can remove whatever way. But this is one good question which people will face, and we have to work out. The question has reached to 110, so we can understand lot of confusion. Now, next, in the context of drafting of SHP, are we required to include only those person entities who are explicitly defined as promoter group in the offer document, or does it definition also extend to other as per SEBI ICDR regulation?
Promoter is to be taken from the prospectus, but promoter group is nothing to do with prospectus, but it is connected with people who are appearing as promoter.
So as ICDR will applicable?
Yes.
Okay. Now, some question on subsidiary. Should subsidiary include both direct or indirect subsidiary? Answer is yes.
Yes.
Can a listed subsidiary of a holding company disclose only its direct subsidiaries under promoter group if they are multiple layers?
So subsidiary is defined and it includes step down subsidiaries as well. We'll have to include.
Okay. One question on foreign investment. If a listed company receives foreign investment under FDI prior to listing, whether more than or less than 10% should this be reported under institution, FDI, or foreign body corporate in the shareholding pattern, considering such investors are often SBPs?
So it would be in FDI only
Okay.
because it was received as an FDI.
Okay. In case of LLP and partnership firm, whose name to be included in SHP?
I
LLP
think
के
the
केस
name
में LLP के केस में
Yeah.
LLP and partners के name case में, because partnership cannot hold shares, the names of the partners would be coming.
Okay.
Like for preferential allotments, we do the same.
Okay. The company has mentioned the name of promoter group member with nil shareholding in the footnote of the SHP. As per the new amendment in format, do we require to add their name and pen in the SDT portal? If yes, do we require to freeze their pen as well as in each quarter?
I think we have answered yes.
We'll have to do that.
Answer is yes. And when answer is yes of first question, then second question will also you have to freeze. in a FAQ, it is mentioned that in case of promoter group company being wound up or dissolved in the quarter, detailed notes shall be mentioned in that regard from the forthcoming quarter till when it is company required to mention this footnote. Also, only footnote will suffice, or should name also be mentioned?
Yes, so if they are removing the name, they will have to put the detailed note, and from the next quarter, they can, once the shareholding pattern is approved from our end, from next quarters, it is okay if they remove directly. But for first quarter, they will have to provide us detailed, note.
Okay. The daughter-in-law of the main promoter of the company holds nil share. However, they have never been shown at least in the shareholding pattern. Post the amendment, it is company required to include their name in SSP. If we add their name now, there are any additional compliances required to be done. So earlier you were not shown, now you are showing. So what are compliance you have to do? So Anjali, any other compliance?
No other compliance, but I have a feeling ऐसा नहीं हो कि कल को exchange से something comes up that till now Mrs. A was not shown as the promoter group, and now all of a sudden a new shareholder has been added. So that is something my personal apprehension is.
No, I think I have covered this already, that if it is in true spirit and law, and if it is a fair, then we do not have any issue in such kind of disclosures. And we always promote this kind of disclosures, in fact.
Sure,
So,
thank you. Yeah, that's great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now 25 questions on ESOP. So I'm starting rapid round. Rapid round means we have to give answer very short, so we can cover nerves. So Vinod, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
So under which shareholding pattern, shareholder category should outstanding ESOP grant be disclosed? Under resident individual holding up to 2 lakh or exceeding 2 lakh?
Any
Uh,
other category and select respective drop down, sir.
Yeah, Mandar, you were saying something?
Nothing. I think I have answered this in a chat box in
Okay.
answer. So,
No, because chat box is reading by the person. We have to, other people are also waiting. Okay. If there are 100 employees with 5,000 outstanding ESOP, should the number of employees be added to the total number of shareholders?
No.
Okay. Should holder of ESOP be counted in the number of shareholders column?
No, sir.
How should vested what lapse ESOP, which are not yet returned to the option pool, be disclosed?
It is depend on scheme to scheme. If it is lapsed and re-added to the pool as per the scheme, and if it is reissue in future, then it will be considered as outstanding grant. But in the scheme it is mentioned only that lapse option should not added to pool, then it should be not considered as outstanding grant, sir.
Okay, but they are saying till the time it is written and you have to file a shareholding pattern. What is the position of this in between?
Position have to show as on quarter ended, sir.
Okay. Under what category should granted ESOP be shown for employees who are not KMPs or director?
Can you repeat, sir?
Under what category should granted ESOP? Under what category should granted ESOP be shown for employees who are not KMPs or directors?
I think, sir, any other, and then they will have to just check whether they are, shareholders or no.
Okay. Is disclosure required if the ESOP scheme is implemented through the secondary market where there is no dilution?
No, sir.
Okay. If an employee holds both ESOP and shares purchased through the secondary market, how should be they categorize?
There is a proper treatment in that file. Employee
Okay.
wale mein hai na?
Okay. If an employee holds if an employee holds only shares purchased through the secondary market, how should it be categorized?
No, sir. In this case, secondary acquisition should be done through only trust.
Okay.
Okay. So trust will purchase on behalf of employee, and trust will transfer to the employee, sir.
Okay. If an ESOP scheme allows the grant of lapses for option, but they have not yet re-granted, should these lapse option be included under outstanding options?
No, sir. Until companies reissue that option in lieu of lapse option, there is no need to put into.
Okay. Should the entire ESOP pool be disclosed or only the granted portion?
Only granted portion, sir.
Okay, if an employee trust first receives shares which are later transferred to the employee, should outstanding shares be shown under the trust or under employee?
Sorry, come again, sir.
If an employee trust first receives shares which are later transferred to the employee, should outstanding share be shown under the trust or under employees? But all the shares of employee has come to the trust and then they are giving to the trust. So then they have been giving in the employee name. So whatever outstanding is there, it should be shown in the trust or employee's name.
In the outstanding grant should be showed in the name of public in the public category only, sir. In
Okay.
the shareholding of trust,
Trust.
holding of trust should be shown.
Yeah, because in case of trust, shares have already been allotted to the trust. So trust is the shareholder.
How
They
should
will,
we?
they will not form the part of dilution.
Okay.
Because our ultimate objective is to determine the dilution.
Okay.
Right.
How should ESOP be lying with the trusts that are not yet granted to have been lapsed be shown?
I didn't get the question, sir.
How
Sir,
should
yes.
ESOP lying with the trusts that are not yet granted or have been lapsed be shown?
Sir,
Sir-
after granted only, company can issue shares to trust only, sir.
Okay.
Before granting, if the it is not possible, sir.
Okay. Are ESOP disclosure rules also apply to ESR?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Should the name of every employee to whom ESOP are granted be disclosed?
No, sir. Only
No.
number.
No.
Okay.
Hmm.
If none of the director, KMP or employee have been granted more than 1% shareholding, their name still be disclosed? So answer is no, more than 1%, then you have to disclose. Am I right? If an employee who holds shares in ESOP.
Yes, sir. Yes.
If an employee who holds shares in ESOP resigns, should their share be shown under resident individual up to or above 2 lakh in the next quarter?
Yes.
Okay. Should we include the number of employee with unvested or unexercised ESOP in the total number of shareholding?
No, only sir. Granted numbers have to show.
Okay, if the KMP resigned during the quarter, should we consider the total ESOP granted or only vested ESOP as the resignation date?
Only vested option, sir.
Okay. In case the ESOP scheme has been superlative grant feature where additional grants are recognized only at vested performance base, how should these be reflected in the shareholding pattern?
So can you repeat the question?
In case the ESOP scheme has a superlative grant, that is the feature where additional grants are recognized only at vesting performance base, how should these be reflected in shareholding pattern?
As and when it is grant, sir, company have to show in shareholding pattern.
Right. Okay. Should lapse ESOP be excluded when determining total outstanding ESOP?
Yes, I think this all questions has been answered in that.
Okay. Under which category should outstanding ESOP grant be shown if no shares have been allotted?
It is already covered.
Covered,
Okay.
sir.
No, if no ESOP was granted to promoter or public shareholder, which section of the reporting template applies?
Company should select no option in declaration sheet itself, sir.
Okay. Should convertible security be included when beneficiary bifurcating resident individual shareholding is up to rupees 2 lakh and above 2 lakh? Should convertible security be included when bifurcating resident individual shareholding into up to 2 lakh or more than 2 lakh?
Convertible securities will have to be bifurcated.
Okay. Should SR be treated the same way the ESOP for disclosure?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. In case of performance-based ESOP with market-linked vesting condition, should they still be included in fully diluted shareholding?
This is also covered that in FAQ.
Should lapse ESOP be excluded from the total? Ho gaya. If
Yeah,
no, ESOP, yeah, this says. Now, system-driven SDD. Should the additional disclosure for promoter group be complied with or this quarter also?
Yes, sir. Will have to be done.
Should promoter group member with nil shareholding also be added in the depository issue portal?
Yes, we have
Yes,
discussed
Yes,
that.
sir. Yes,
If
sir.
there is no option for footnote in the table 2 in XBRR, but SEBI requires nil shareholding to be shown in the note, how should this be complied with?
Put in the table 2.
Okay.
In table 2, there is notes. The name of the nil promoter can be mentioned in the notes. However, they will have to show that in the promoter list as well with zero shareholding.
Okay. Should the SHP utility be filled by the quarter?
SHP, can you repeat?
Should the SHP utility be filled for this quarter?
What is this?
Yes.
Yes, yes,
XBRL,
yes.
Yes,
XBRL
yes.
filing.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
it will
yes.
have to be done.
Yes.
Yes, simultaneously both the filings are up. SDD is also gone live at the same time. The SHP utility has to be filled for this quarter.
Okay. Should share under lock-in due to preferential issue be disclosed under NDU?
No, it should be disclosed under the lock-in column only.
Okay. Do general clause in banking agreement restricting disposal of shares count as NDU for SHP hold disclosure?
Yes. Any agreement wherein you are saying I will not be disposing of the shares? Yes.
Okay. If the whole time director holds shares, should this be shown under the director or KMP category?
There is a FAQ in that it is mentioned that whatever category is appearing first, you have to report in that category.
Okay. When bifurcating resident individual by nominal value up to or exceeding 2 lakhs, should convertible security be included or only current shareholding? There is a diverse practice. Please clarify. Anjali, you have said that convertible securities will be bifurcated and disclosed. Any different view?
They will have to be given, sir.
Okay.
But
When
this question has to be addressed, looked into more deeply to be able to understand what exactly is
So
the.
anybody who has given this question, please send it us. So we will give you answer in detail. When calculating resident individual holding above below 2 lakhs, should ESOP allotments and market purchase both be counted or only ESOP allotment?
Aseem, if you can answer this.
ESOP allotment. Can you repeat again? Just I was.
When calculating resident individuals holding above below 2 lakh, should ESOP allotments and market purchase both be counted or only ESOP allotments?
Both.
Okay.
Huh.
The whole-time director point is, if he's a director, whole-time director, he will come under KMP now, because he's not a director per se. He's a KMP. That's why, so his name will come in KMP, not the director.
Whole-time director, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I'm continuously getting so many questions, bhai. Okay, special user. If I report the name of the trust as the beneficiary owner, but the trustee B is ostensible owner, should trustee B be shown as the promoter group with nil holding?
Sir, again, this requires further looks to be looked into. We cannot answer just like that on this question.
Okay. If I classified an immediate relative who is not in touch with the promoter, holds no share as promoter group, could this classification create legal ground for that person or later claim right over company shares?
Not clear, sir.
If I classify an immediate relative who is not in touch with the promoter and holds no share as promoter group, could this classification creates legal ground for that person to later claim right over company shares? You are saying you have not shown, and then now you are saying promoter group. Tomorrow you can say I am the owner, part of the ownership of this company.
No,
Then
promoter
depends.
group. Yeah, please.
So I don't think promoter group by your name.
Yes, it is
coming
not
the
giving
promoter
any
group, unless you are
control
showing
on.
something differently, it is there. But yes, somewhere where the dispute is going on the ownership, and you are saying that he is not totally connected, and now you are showing name that he can get some benefit, but depends upon the case to case. How should clause 5 of the promoter group definition under Section 2 PP of SEBI ICDR regulation be interpreted? Anjali, can you tell?
Sir, give me 2 minutes.
Okay. In the
Yeah.
meantime, is the shareholding pattern prepared as per the new requirement also required to file with the BSC or NSC?
I'm
Both.
sorry, yes.
Yes.
The new format, the shareholding pattern should be submitted on
If-
both the exchanges.
If you're listed in both the exchanges, then only.
Yeah. How can executive, that may be listed at BSC, so he's asking.
नहीं फिर NSE भी नहीं करना.
How can executive director who holds shares under the public category be reclassified under the promoter category?
For the public category, they want to reclassify in the promoter.
How can executive director who holds shares under the public category be reclassified under the promoter category?
They can come anytime. Entry is allowed.
Okay,
Anytime if you want to come in the promoter, we're welcome.
Okay.
The exchanges will not restrict anybody who is willing to come in the promoter category. However, if anybody wants to exit, then there are certain protocols and certain requirements, reclassification requirements. But there is no restriction on entering into promoter.
Okay.
At any point.
Just to add Mansi's point, the exchanges will take just a confirmation that you were, given consent, or you have given consent to add or to get added yourself as a promoter or promoter group. So that one undertaking all or confirmation will take. Apart from that, nothing else.
Okay. If only fully convertible warrants are issued to a person, should they be counted in the number of shareholding column?
In the summary table.
In the non-institutional section under any other, when selecting ESOPs and ESPS, where there is no option to add outstanding ESOPs, how should be reported?
Sorry, sir, can you please repeat?
In the non-institutional section under any other, when selecting ESOPs, ESPS, there is no option to add outstanding ESOPs. How should this be reported? So I think
option is there, they might have not selected, yes or no in that declaration thing. You can write us if there is any technical. This seems to be a technical glitch, but just check whether you have selected yes in the declaration. But option is generally there. So if there is some technical, you can write it to us. We'll address it.
And we will also compile and send it to you, all the questions which we have received. Does the name of each option grantee need to be disclosed mandatorily?
No, sir.
Okay. Should the number of employees to whom outstanding ESOP have been granted be added to the total number of shareholders?
No, sir.
Okay. Now I'm very quickly, because time is running up. If a company originally disclosed 60% promoter and promoter group, but now only 24 remains, should it be still provide detail of 60, or would giving information about the current 24 suffice? Answer is no. If they are 60%, they are coming in the promoter group, you have to disclose, or you have to go for reclassification if you want to do it. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
If the stock exchange does not grant a NOC for the promoter group reclassification request, can the company still approach shareholders for approval, stating that the stock exchange did not consent, since shareholders are the final authority?
No, under the new provision 31A, first the shareholders exchange will give the approval, then the shareholders approval is to be taken.
So there is no question of no, but shareholder stock exchange refusing, and I am going to shareholder, and then I am
It's of
applying
no
again.
point. Then to every company will go into the shareholders asking for reclassification of the promoter group. So
Okay.
that is why this amendment has come. Yeah, you take first the shareholders exchange approval and then go to the shareholders.
Okay. If foreign entity in which the company is a promoter held more than 20% voting right has now been fully divested, does it still need to be disclosed in the promoter group list with nil holding?
Yes.
But he is not holding any share now.
So that is what the basic purpose is, that to anybody who's not even holding any shares in the company and falling within the ambit of promoter group, the name has to be given.
Okay. If a relative of promoter refuses to provide PAN or is a body corporate, does it provide? Okay, this we have done. Does a proprietary firm or promoter need to be included in the promoter group category, even though it would not have, it will not have any PAN number separately?
So proprietary firm,
Proprietary
because it
firm of
doesn't
a
have a
promoter.
PAN. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think promoter has the person who's the proprietor, he has a PAN number, that PAN number will be utilized.
Right.
Should be the detail of legally separated spouse of the promoter be disclosed? So you
No,
have a
divorce
spouse-
Divorce.
cases. Yeah, divorce cases, unless reclassified. Are,
No. I'm saying there's a divorce.
Hmm.
Should I write that my wife is I got
No, so
divorced?
that's what I'm saying. The divorced spouse has to apply for a reclassification.
No, Anjali, I'm giving the name of my spouse, but I'm mentioning that she has we have divorced. Then it can.
No.
No, sir. A reclassification request would be required. And then during the reclassification request, an application and with the relevant documentary evidence be provided to the exchange for exchange to approve it.
No, but just tell me, Mansi, suppose there is a husband and he divorced his wife and it has completed all the things, but her name is coming. So in the meantime, they are going for reclassification, but the company is coming out with some preferential issue and the wife sold shares in the market. So I will be disqualified.
Yes.
But if I have disclosed this and tomorrow I'm going to SEBI for this particular concept that I have already divorced, SEBI can give exemption to me. So that's why I'm saying the company should write at the note additionally, it will helpful for them.
No, sir, but then the reclassification request has to be approved before removing anybody from the promoter.
No, I'm not removing. I'm just giving the note that this person, that Mr. X will write that my wife is and I have got a divorce and by order dated is now this and I have applied for reclassification. So tomorrow it can helpful for him for some exemption. That's I'm saying.
See, this is again an exception case.
Yeah.
This is again an exception case which will be looked into by the regulator separately. But as far as the rules are concerned, they will have to apply for reclassification and go by the normal routes as per the LOD.
Okay. If a person was included in the promoter group in the prospectus but has passed away more than 2 years ago, should they still be shown in the June quarter SSP?
No, sir, they can tag them as deceased.
Okay.
Yeah.
If an immediate relative of the director who falls under the, but what about their family member? Suppose that promoter who expired, now their family member will be there, so their name will come or not?
Their name will be there, sir, until and unless reclassified.
Yes.
Okay. If and so we have to search all prospectus of the company, who was the promoter, who has who died, what are their family member. It is really some cumbersome things. Okay. If an immediate relative or director who falls under the promoter group is appointed as a director, should they continue to be shown as a promoter group or be classified as promoter after appointment?
Promoter group, because he is the immediate relative of the promoter group.
But now he's a director in the company.
Sir, again, in whatever category it is you are appearing for the in the shareholding structure, you have to be shown there.
Okay, if I'm friends, I'm extending time because 186 participant is still there and I have around 20 questions. So I'm just quickly coming. Some of the repeat, which I'll not take. If an individual who formed part of the promoter group during the IPO and had nil shareholding, had also nil shareholding at the time of death last year, should their name also be shown now in SHP? So SHP name we can remove, but their family member has to come until its classification is taking place. Should detail of the company held by the promoter sister be disclosed as a promoter group? Details of the companies held by the promoter sister be disclosed as a promoter group?
Yeah, promoter sister is promoter group, and if she is holding more than 20% in any of the companies, that entity will also be a promoter group.
Okay. If adding a new promoter group member pushes total promoter group shareholding above 75, will SEBI allow time to reduce shareholding, or will this be treated as non-compliance from the day one?
Sir, even I had this question in my presentation, that if by including somebody in the promoter group, who was earlier being shown as a public category shareholder, the promoter holding breaches 75% or...
But Anjali, that was a violation. Suppose somebody is a promoter group holding shares and
I
you are
agree.
disclosing in public,
Yes,
it is a violation.
it is a violation. But then if any of my promoter entity was holding the previous question, for example, my sister's company was holding 3%, and by virtue of it, the promoter holding
So
crosses
Mansi,
75.
what is the view here that if I am holding 75, my sister is added, which was not shown, that I'm saying it's a violation, but now it has, our holding is 78%. So will SEBI, how it will be treated? Anybody? Asim or
Hello.
yeah.
So there is a share violation of that that MPS regulations. It's a clear violation because it's your responsibility to identify the promoter and promoter
Shivam?
group. At the time of listing, you are also identifying if it is your sister's company and it is in the that side, public side. So it is company's owners. So it will be treated as MPS non-compliant. And
Okay. If
that's why we said ना कि that ये promoter वाला concept इसीलिए आया है कि MPS का breach वहां ना हो.
तो एमपीएस का ब्रीच हो गया तो मैं एमपीएस का ब्रीच के लिए मैं सेबी विल गिव वो दे कैन डू दिस बट विल सेबी विल गिव टाइम टू रेटिफाई दिस
No. How that time will be given?
So 1 year time is there
Already there ना
within which
system में.
MPS has to be complied with.
Yes.
So इसमें exemption भी नहीं मिलेगी. अगर कोई सोचेगी we will go to SEBI for an exemption, I don't think any
It is
exemption
very
will be
strict.
there. Yeah.
Okay. So last two questions because the NSC team has another meeting and the question which are not answered, we will share it directly to the respective people. Until transmission is complete, should the name of disease promoter group member continue to be disclosed, mentioning that they are disease?
It's there mentioned late.
Okay. Should the all subsidiaries of promoter be disclosed under the promoter group as per the ICDR definition?
Yes.
Yes.
So friends, even more questions are there and more questions are coming. What I will do, all these things which we have not given answer, we will directly write to the person concerned, and any question which we have a doubt, I will share with the NSC team. They can give answer. Anjali, what you do, all questions which we are not given answer, or some questions which are not clearly given answer because of clarity. So I'm requesting that particular participant please clarify so we can do this. And we can give answer of these questions to everyone which is not answered here. So thank you very much to all. As a ritual, I have to close this session and I'm asking everyone, Mandar, I will start with you about this law. In 20 seconds, you can just wrap up. So then Asim, Binod, Anjali and Charu. You have to unmute yourself, please.
Well, thank you, sir, and thank you, team of corporate professionals, for inviting us and giving this opportunity. So yeah, I'm looking forward for more such sessions.
Okay, Mansi, about this topic, about this thing, your view.
It was quite an interesting session and very insightful. I'm sure it has helped a lot of companies understand and more clarity has been brought about. Yeah, we are looking forward for participating in such many more seminars. So thank you so much, and it was a very good initiative from corporate professionals.
Mansi, what we will do, we
Yeah.
will compile all the questions which are not in FAQ. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
and we will send it to NSC so they can discuss, and if they want to add in the second phase, they can add it. Asim, please, your
Yes.
view.
Yes.
This is a very good session, very good initiative by the corporate professional, because the companies routinely faces this issue. So a number of queries, it is very difficult for us to address everyone. So it is become a common platform where we address the common problems and try to give the best solution. If any is still left, they can come to us, they can write to you and try to read the FAQ. We try to cover everything in the as far as possible in the FAQ. Some question which is left, they can write to us. And I thanks the corporate professional team for this webinar.
Okay. Anjali, Vinod. Vinod?
Hello. Li- one already covered by Asim sir. Ki, all listed entities are advised to refer the FAQs only. There only all common queries will be covered. And if companies have any different facts and different question, then they can directly write to us. We will reply to them. Okay.
Okay.
And thank you. Thank
And
you.
Anjali, share this presentation to the participants so they will
Sure.
be benefited. Yeah, Anjali.
This particular compliance is a step towards a better governed corporate world. So let's not consider it as a cost. It's an investment only, wherein initial hiccups are there. But yes, over a period of time, it will be smoothen the process.
Okay. Charu.
So the amendments brought by SEBI, basically they have brought in to increase the transparency and ensure the accurate reporting. So I think from this session, everyone would have got the answers from for what they was there were so practical challenges we were facing. We were having so many calls from all the listed entities. So in case of any more questions, we are happy to help you. Thank you so much.
Okay. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mansi. Thank you, Manda. Thank you, Asim. Thank you, Vinod, Anjali, Charu, for participating. And it was very interesting and complicated subject. The question, the way more than 125 questions we have received, it indicates that people have a confusion despite of FAQ of 52 questions, 52 FAQ of SEBI, of NSC. Less, I hope so much clear today. But in case anybody has any issue, please write to us. We'll give reply to them. So thank you very much to all. And thank you, as I told you, our knowledge journey will continue on next Friday, 25th July 2025. We are having understanding nitty-gritty of scheme of arrangement. And this we are jointly organizing with NSC. And the basic object of this program is when you are filing your the scheme of amalgamation or demerger or whatever it is, restructuring, it is going to the stock exchange, what types of problem they are facing and why this is taking time and how you should do so you can get the faster result from NSC and the SEBI that we will discuss. And what are the do's and don'ts for the corporate, we'll discuss. Till then, good night.